first one is young Joseph remembered God when he was of young age. If we read Genesis chapter 39 verse 1, it is very clear that Joseph from the Old Testament, he was sold as a slave. And in those days, slave had no right at all. Yeah, they had no right at all. They cannot say no to their master. Any work or any command or anything which is being, or any task which is being given to them, they can never say no. But we find in Genesis chapter 39 verse 9 that young Joseph remembered his creator, his God, and he said no. The verse says that there is none greater in this house than I. Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. And read it. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Young Joseph, in his young age, he remembered his creator. He remembered his creator God, and he said no. Young Joseph remembered God, and in temptation he said no. Now what is the application for youngsters like you and me? How in our young age we can say no? Yes, there are so many areas in our life where we as a youngster, or we as a college going, or you as a student, we need to say no. We can also say no to many wrong things in our life. We are living in a metropolitan city like Bombay, and in our daily day-to-day activities there are many wicked things, there are many wrong things, there are many unethical things, there are many diluted and bad things which we may have to come across, maybe in school, maybe in college, maybe wherever you are working. So we all need to say no to certain wrong things in our life. Which are those things as a youngsters? There are few things. We can also say no to wrong friendship. We can also say no to naughty or wrong SMS and MMS. We can also say no to bad websites. We can also say no to enticing emails. We can also say no to Facebook friendship wrong request. We can also say no to our wrong dresses. We can also say no to our wrong friendship. We can also say no to cinemas or pubs or nightclubs or so many things. Yes, as a youngster, you and me in our young age, we should remember to say no. We should remember our God, our Creator, and say no to certain things in our life. Young Joseph remembered God, and he said no to certain things. Let us see another character, and he also remembered God while praying, and this character is none other than Daniel from the Old Testament. We will read one scriptural portion and then we will go ahead quickly. Chapter 6 of Daniel 10, it says that, now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, and he went into his house, and his windows being opened in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, and as he did aforetime. Now here the story is very much clear, and it is very much well known to all of us. Here Daniel, he is remembering God and he gave thanks. Now here one strange thing is there. For what Daniel is giving thanks? Daniel gave thanks. What was the reason? Was it some favorable situation? Because of that Daniel gave thanks? For what Daniel gave thanks? Now those who are very much aware of the story of Daniel, the moment Daniel is praying, the next moment he will be thrown into the den of lions. Because the writing was signed. But even though he came in his house, he opened the window and he gave thanks. What would be Daniel's prayer request? Or what would be Daniel's matter of giving thanks? He is in a problem. He is surrounded by so many wicked people, but even though Daniel is giving thanks in that critical situation. Daniel remembered God in tough time and gave thanks. There is also similar applications for youngsters like you and like me. What are the applications? We can thank God when we don't get marks or expected marks in our exams. We can even thank God when we don't get through CE, CET or JEE or any other entrance exams. We can even thank God when we don't get admission in our favorite college or in our favorite category, maybe BSc or MSc or MBBS. We can also thank God when we don't get expected job. Yes, my dear brothers and sisters. Yes, my dear youngsters. We can learn to give thanks in wrong things or in critical situations. I have written there in bracket USA and DXB. DXB stand for Dubai. That year, those days, when I was about 20 or 21 years of age. And those days, I was working in one shipping company as an inspection engineer in Bombay. And there was one opportunity for two of the staffs to go to US from our company. And I was the eligible candidate. There was, in those days, there was none better than me. So I was very much sure that I have to go to US. And there was an assignment of about 6 months or 8 months, some project was there. So, but I don't know what happened, but I was rejected, and instead of me, some other person was sent to US. And those days I was very much discouraged because the person who went, he was not educated that much, experience also he was not that much, while the skill or any category, he was not to the mark. But even though he was sent to US, and I was so much desperate, I was so much discouraged, and I was so much unhappy mood. But after a few days, after a few years, maybe 1 or 2, I was sent to Dubai for some official assignment. And then in Dubai, I searched for a job, and I got one better job in Dubai. So when I look back about 15 or 20 years before, and those days, I compare USA and I compare Dubai. And I know that for me, maybe USA was a better place. But God knows that for me, not Dubai, not USA, but Dubai was a better place. But I can look back 15 years before or 20 years before, and I can say, but that time, 20 years before, oh, I was like this, not eating properly, and whenever my friends or my colleagues, they will see me, "Arey kya hua?" Bahut nervous tha. Why? Because the opportunity, the golden opportunity to go to US was missed. But now I can thank God. While preparing these slides in the train, I was preparing, and one thought came into my mind. Few months or few years before, I was going from very difficult situation in my life, and those time I was in tears. Not only me, but my whole family, my wife, my kids. We were praying, and we were in a very disturbed situation. But when I look back, 1 year now I am placed in Aurangabad, but when I look back now and 1 year before, now I can thank God. Lord, thank you for those situations. Those situations was very much tough for me. Those situations was not favorable for me that time, but you helped me to went through this situation, and because there is something special in your mind for me. Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, such critical situations may come to your life. You and me, we will think that, oh, I'm gone. Oh, this is very bad. Oh, why this is happening to me only? But God has some plans. God has certain plans for your life and for my life. And let me tell you, that plan which God has for your life and my life is much more better than what plan you think you have for your life and for my life. That is wonderful verse. And this is also very much well-known verse for all of us. Romans chapter 8, verse 28, what it says. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose.